You're listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson, the podcast that tells you what it really takes to build a business and the simple steps to get you there. I'm determined to share with you the reality of easy, simple business marketing tips to make passive income so that you can start making money online. Hello and welcome to today's episode. I'm really excited about today's episode because it's about money, and you know me and money. I love talking about money, even though I get in lots of trouble for it, and we'll talk about that as well. So with me here, I have Kylie Anderson. Kylie's an online business strategist, and one of the reasons I've been following Kylie for a long time, and we've known each other in this online world for some time, and she's one of the only people that talk about money as openly as me and as freely as me, with no shame, attached to it. And so we've always bonded over the kind of things we're doing. We're very similar in our outlook to things. So I'm really excited to talk to Kylie about money today. So welcome to the podcast, Kylie.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm very happy to be here. And thanks for tuning in, anyone listening in. Look forward to starting a great conversation.
Yeah, so let's talk, first of all, one of the things that we always talk about is the fact that we both get quite a lot of slack when we talk about money online. You've seen me do it every time I make money in a launch, and I tell people how much money I've made, and I break it down and I tell them where it comes from. And I get quite a lot of, all she cares about is money. All she talks about is money. And when I'm in the newspapers, because I've done something in business that's gone well, all I get is, usually men actually, in the comments section saying mean things. In fact, in the last one, they were talking about how I've helped so many people during the pandemic make money because of the launch that I had. And the first comment was from a man saying, maybe she can now lose weight. Because men can't cope with it. There's some men that can't cope with women making money. So you've had the same thing. You talk about money a lot online. Tell me your experiences with that.
Yeah, definitely the same. The personal attacks is fascinating. I'm a curvy woman and I own my curves. But it's amazing how people have to react. And the only way they can react is quite often is with some sort of criticism. So, and it's a shame because it's a natural default for a lot of people. And unfortunately, weight's one of those things where it's very visible. So it's like they can just attack you because they can. It's not like you're hiding your secrets. It's like, no, I'm curvy, yeah. So, and for me, it's the same. It really annoys me. And, I get really passionate about this too, was when women put women down, because there is so much of it across the industry and it just makes me cringe. Whereas, we compete in various areas of what we do. And yet I'm one of the first ones to send you a message, to praise you, to go. And I see it as a target. I'm like, well, if she can bloody do it, I can. And that's the way I've always seen stuff. So for me, but I do find it really interesting that people feel they have to lash out. They hide behind social media, they hide behind their screens and whatever else. And, for me, money is just a resource to help people. That's the way I see it. And the more I can make, the more I can make a difference. That's it. That's exactly. And one of my sayings is always, if good women and good money, they do good things.
And they do.
That's my saying. They do.
They do good things. And it is really interesting because as somebody that is, an online strategist, the same as you, when we make money for ourselves or our clients, we talk about that fact that we've done it. And I do that. And I know you do the same thing to show people what's possible. Because if they don't believe it's possible, when I was younger and I was looking at people online, I never saw anybody that looked and sounded like me making lots of money. And so I didn't think it was possible because I couldn't see anybody that looked like me. And so now I'm really passionate about telling people, I'm making lots of money so that they can see that they can too. But also, if I'm honest with you, I'm a kind of business strategist. If I went to somebody that was a fitness specialist and they were writing about how they were doing such and such marathon, or how they'd just got 2 medals, or, how they just ran 20K, I'd be like, yeah, because you're a PT. And now I want to work with you because you're a PT and I can see that you're doing the thing that you're helping others to do. And you're talking about your clients who are also doing those things. And everybody's fine with that. Yet when it comes to money, I'm showing people I can make money because that's what I'm helping them do. So it doesn't make sense for me not to talk about it. And yet all I see online at the moment, I saw another one yesterday, a lady that normally is, a nice person, doesn't judge others, wrote, I am so sick of seeing people talk about how they're making 6 figures or 7 figures in their business. But the people talking about those things are doing it because their job is to make money. Their job, what they are known for, is doing that for other people. So isn't it right that they talk about those things?
Yeah, exactly like you said. If anyone else in the industry was doing it in a different industry, like, oh, I've just baked the best cake, or, hey, I've built this big, building or whatever. I've just transformed this house. We do a lot of stuff with property, don't we? I've just refurbished this house. I'm cool. We've made this profit. Brilliant. Talk about money, and it's like, no. And I get that it's not about money, because I know for you, because I've known you for a long time as well, it's not about the money, it's about the impact it has when you get people realizing their own gifts and what they can do with it and how they can make the impact. But if you, like you said, if I went to someone, we were talking about this morning with someone, and I was like, there's a couple of big coaching industries which I just cringe at, because I know most of the coaches on them are failed business coaches.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, I would never go and work with them under that industry, because they're failed business coaches and they're teaching people how to build businesses. And I'm like, they can't build their own business. Why would I want to go with them as a business coach? And again, if I'm teaching people how to make money online, if I'm not making money online, why would you want to come and work with me? It's simple as that.
It really is as simple as that.
You have to be able to share it. Yeah.
And yet it's always seen as, they're showing off, they're shouting about that. And I think a lot of that comes from what we've been brought up being told about money. Like, you shouldn't talk about money, and it's rude to kind of show that you're making money and those kind of things, which is a problem, because we don't see men having the same issues as women talking about money.
They just do. They own it.
They own it.
I have a very wealthy friend of mine who lives out in Dubai, and I love him. And he always jokes with me, because I'm like, he's bought another Rolex, and I always joke with him, but baby, you've only got like 2 wrists. Like, what can you do? And he was like, oh, yes, but I have one for every day of the week now. And he's like, his goal is to have one for every month. And I always joke with him, do you really want that, or would you rather do something else with it? But again, I have fun with him with it. But again, there's no shame in him buying. Like, there's no shame in him spending. There's no shame in his sharing. Everything he does, he's just like, I don't care. Like, whereas women, it is, and it's ingrained in us so deeply. It is years of ingrainment, years of culture, years of ingrained that you shouldn't talk about money, and women definitely not should have money. Like, why should you?
Imagine a woman. Imagine if I went online and said, "Look, I've got a different Rolex for every day of the week." God, I'd get slapped for it.
There you go. There's a post for you.
I'm going to do it just to see what I get.
You can do it with your art and say, "We've got a piece of artwork for every day of the week."
It's funny how people see it, and I think that you're right in that it's been ingrained in us. And I think the whole culture around money is that men traditionally have managed it, and so women being breadwinners and women having money is, I know for myself, when I started to make money, I did not know what to do with it. And you're quite passionate about teaching women that they need to actually invest money to be able to make that money work for them, which I'm really interested in, because I was the same. I made money and I didn't really know what to do with it. And obviously I'd heard all the things that the normal kind of, financial advisors that you see online say, which is like, put it into a pension and maybe do a stock or a bond, but didn't really understand any of it. I only got my first pension last year because I was so scared of trying to talk to like financial advisors about money, because I thought I wouldn't understand anything that they were talking to me about, because it seemed like a whole minefield of different things. And so I can see why men are investing really well in all these different things and women can't and are not doing it as well.
Yeah, so I think that's one of my pet passion projects on the side at the moment. So I'm looking at for something next year around called Iconic Wealth International. And the idea of it is to, like you said, there is a disparity going on with women and wealth. Like I said, there's people like you that have got these big pots of money going, wow, I've got all this money now, what do I do with it? And I don't know how to invest in it. And then there's the other side of it, which I was saying to you earlier, was that the statistics-wise around, especially in the UK, from a pension perspective, but also just going into their older age, age, there's a huge poverty line in relation to women because they are separated. They've never had pensions before. So there's a lot of women that are sort of over 50 that are now starting to go, okay, well, how am I going to survive in pensions? Because they don't necessarily have a plan for it. So I think there's this massive disparity going on as well. But yeah, and it's like you said, but again, it's the old age industry of the things that, you know, you've got money, what do you do with it? There's not necessarily, like you said, there's not necessarily people you want to go to for advice because it is a very male-dominated industry around pensions. I think, like you said, the biggest one for me is around risk because women are not necessarily risk takers compared to men. And that's whereas I'm a bit like you, I'm like, oh, I've got some stuff in crypto, I've got my stuff in property, I've got this. And it's like, so again, it's the understanding the different types of investments. And again, I think it's because we don't talk about it. Because, we don't get out there and share what we do.
We certainly don't talk about it with our friends. Like, I can't imagine going to the pub with my female friends and going, oh, you know, like, what kind of stuff are you investing at the moment? Or how much do you earn? Like, I always say that, you know, you can talk about sex as much as you like with your friends and go as deep into that as you want to, but you talk about money and it's like, how dare you talk about money? How dare you ask me how much I'm earning? And I think if we did have an environment where we are more open with it and we do talk about money more and we stop making it so taboo to talk about it, then more women would make it. First off, they would make more money because it would become a normal thing and they could ask questions about it, but also they would invest it in a better way than they're doing at the moment. I'm a big believer in investing in things that you can enjoy now that will make you money later. And yes, of course, I do the pension thing and I do the things that I'm supposed to do, the ISAs and all the rest of it, all the boring things that I've been told to do. But then I do things like buy art, buy wines. I've got a wine collection that you can then...
I can't do that. I don't end up drinking it.
But that's the thing. Someone said to me, yeah, but what do you do there? I said, well, it's kept somewhere. And she said, what if it doesn't make any money? I was like, then I'm going to have a really good party.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? And things like watches and different kinds of ways of investing. And I think sometimes your average financial advisor aren't going to tell you about some of these ways.
No, and especially not with women. And again, because if you go in to talk to them, they'll look at you like they do most women. Like, and that's the other thing as well, is like the concept of having a discussion with a female around money is they will treat you like you're an idiot. And I think that's the other thing as well. They will quite often. They'll go, yes, you should have a little pension. You should do this. It's like, well, actually, I want to do some riskier stuff. And I think that is the thing. There's not enough channels for that yet. And I think that is the thing. I think that with the shift in what's going on around, you know, women entrepreneurs and all the money that's being created. And, you know, there was an article by one of the American platforms the other day, and they are, I was trying to think of the name of them and I always forget names, I'm terrible, but they're one of the biggest wealth management companies in America. And they basically said that in America, women will own, they will control the majority of wealth in the next 3 to 5 years. So if you're not managing or marketing or dealing with women with wealth, you are in serious trouble moving forward in your businesses.
I can see that happening. I can see so many women starting to very quickly make millions and millions of pounds. Like I can see it in my own business, you know, women that are rising up and making millions now. And I can see that happening. And it's a brilliant thing, but it's not a brilliant thing if we don't know what to do with it. One of the things that I was doing until my friend Spencer Lodge had a big go at me was keeping my money in a bank account. I literally had £1 million sitting in a normal current account. And he was like, do you know what the percentage return of interest is on that? It's like nothing.
Zero,
So what are you doing? You could be doing so much with that money to make you more money. And so I've got a bit wiser and I've bought properties, and I've just yesterday signed off a place in France that is literally just a return on investment. That's all it's for. I'm not going to be using it. You know, a management company is going to be using it and giving me 6% every single month return on investment, and that's much better than the 1% that I was getting in the bank. So it's looking at different ways of doing things. But I do think that with the rise in coaching and the online industry and courses in the online industry, there's more and more women making money, and I know more and more women who don't know what to do with it. So it is something that needs to be solved. And
and I think that, and again, it's like you said, I think that the way that women think about investing as well, and the way that they want to handle and they want to manage money is very different. And like you said, there's no channels for them to go and have those conversations, because the more we talk about it, like you said, the more you get shut down. It's like you're saying about friends. So I lost 2 good friends during lockdown because we were talking about money and stuff. And of course I was business focused. I was stuck at home. What else am I going to do? You know, I had no life for a year. And but again, it was the realization that I earned their whole salary in a month. You know, and they couldn't cope with it. They were like, we can't cope with the conversations you're having. And it's
that because of envy, do you think? Or is that because of I've seen people who, like, there are people definitely in my life that don't like me talking about my business. And a lot of the time it's because the reality is they don't have the balls to do what some other people like me and others have done. And so sometimes it's a bit of that. It kind of shines a light up to themselves. Sometimes it's a bit of envy, but is there a lot of it just we don't want to talk about money?
I think there's a bit of both. I think there are definitely just people out there that just, you know, no disrespect, there's people that are very happy with their cushy little lives. They cruise every day and they're happy to play at that level, and that's fine. And that's the thing for me. And that's the thing, I never judge them. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because success is different for everyone. And somebody who doesn't have any money but has an amazing life, it's still
they live on literally government benefits and whatever else. And I never judge them for that. I'm like, I've never tried to offer them to change their lives, never force what I do on them. It's interesting. Because for me, it's just, that's my choice. My choice is to strive. I want to do something different. I still want to create a legacy, and that's what's in me and ingrained in me. And I think that's the thing. And I think, but yeah, it's all right to judge back the other way a lot of the times. It's like, well, actually, if you are trying to do something different, people will judge you quicker. And you're like, why? I don't judge you for your life. If you want to sit there and just live for Fridays, great, live for Fridays. I don't. I live for life. Like, I want to do things. And I think that is definitely a mindset, unfortunately, that you see a lot of it. And yeah, you do. Yeah, I've experienced that so many times.
And I think, yeah, I used to have a bit of that mindset, I think. Like, growing up in council housing, I would see people that were doing well and kind of be like, oh, it's all right for them, sort of thing. It's all right for them.
To be fair, I think we've all said that somewhere along the line. I say that about you regularly. So. It's all right for her. She's happily married. She's got a husband that supports it. Yeah, we all say that.
Yeah, because we see these things and we don't realise the underneath of what it's taken to get there, I think, a lot of the time. And I think some of that is our fault, because I think we can make it look easy online when actually in the first couple of years of having a business, it's really bloody hard. Juggling everything. Yeah. But it can be seen to look easy. And that's why I'm starting to talk more and more about how things are hard in the beginning. It's okay for it to be difficult in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because otherwise.
So what do you think is the difference in the shift? Like, because I always find this fascinating. So I always find that conversation fascinating around the shift in relation to people that kind of, like you said, they don't care about their circumstances. They just go out there and do it. And they've just decided that they want something different. What do you think your difference was in relation to, you obviously grew up in that sort of arena and you could have easily just stayed there. You could have quite happily lived a cushy little life and just cruised along. Yeah,
I think there's always a thing that propels someone to get out of a situation. So I think there's like, it can be all. So some people, for instance, have a near-death experience, and it makes them like go, right, my whole life is changing. We only get one life. It needs to be extraordinary. I think for me, it was adversity. Like, because I was being bullied a lot when I was younger, and because people were constantly telling me, you're not going to be anything. Like, this is who you are. Don't even try it because you're pathetic, and all of these different things.
Kind of rebel.
Did. And was like, right, well, then I'm going to prove you wrong. If that hadn't happened to me, when I look back now, if the bullying kind of didn't happen to me and the people weren't so awful to me, I'm not sure I would
have got that spark.
Because I think it was, but now I'm at this position where I've kind of proved everyone wrong. The people online 4 years ago that told me that I would never work in this industry again, all the people that were mean to me then, which I know you know about because you were around at the time.
I know a few of them,
Yeah, like all of that happened to me, and that pushed me on even further to do some of the things that I've done in the last 4 years. And now I feel like I'm no longer bothered by what any of them. I almost feel like I've proved it to myself, and therefore I've proved it to them that I can do whatever I need to do. And so actually now I need a different thing that's going to push me forward to get to whatever next stages I want to be. But I don't necessarily think it's money. And people often say that I'm all about the money and you know, and I'm not. I'm about freedom. And now that I've got to a certain stage, lots of people say to me, oh, are you trying to get to like 8 figures now? And the reality is that no, I'm not bothered of just getting money for money's sake. I'm bothered for getting a life that I absolutely love. And if I get more money, is that going to make my life any better than it is now? The only thing it will do is allow me to help more people in the charities that I work with at the moment. And so, yes, to an extent, I want it because of that. But there is always a weighing up of, what are you chasing it for now? And I think that sometimes people don't make money because they don't know what they're going to spend it on.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I had to challenge myself around that last year. And it's funny, because I tripled my business. And again, it's the same thing, because I was like, well, what is that milestone? What does that actually mean to me? And again, we don't celebrate when we get there quite often. And this is, I think, a detriment to most entrepreneurs. They go, oh, we've hit that target. Now let's go again. Let's do the other one. And because I changed why I was doing it, and it's like you said, that I really got deeper into understanding my drivers, then I'm like, okay, now I know where I want to go. But also, more importantly, is the impact I want to make. It's the difference I want to make. For me, I want to set up a foundation, and I want to set up some sort of investment foundation for women. That's why I'm creating this Iconic Wealth program. And it's looking at, really bringing women entrepreneurs into the spotlight who are doing really cool stuff to inspire other women to do it. Because like you said, they have to change limiting beliefs that they can actually even achieve this. And we need to get that more mainstream. But yeah, for me, it's about creating a foundation layer. I want to create something that we can, because again, if you look at money around the government grants, I worked with a girl in Wales over the part lockdown. They couldn't give money away to women in business. And they were like, we've got all these funds and none of the women are taking it on board. They wouldn't do it. And I said to them, it's because the investment strategy that you're using with women is wrong. Women don't want to just take handout. They don't do that. That's not how we work. Whereas if you look at on the crowdfunding sites, women are the biggest players on those sites. And it's because the way that investment is created and the way it's done in a community, women will get behind. Yeah. So again, that sort of level of the way that money comes into people has to shift and change. So, I like the older style one where, when you can sort of like, you can pull money together, it goes into places like Bangladesh and those sorts of countries and all different countries where then they use it to create a little type of business and a sustainable, then the money goes back into the pot for the next person. Yeah. And that for me, again, it's another way of investing to go, look, hey, you can use this money now. It'll help you kickstart your business. When you're ready to, put it back in, and then it'll go to the next person for that pot of money. And again, for me, that's a strategy that we're not embracing in the Western world. And yet it works.
It works. It does work.
Yeah.
I work with Lendcare and I do the same thing.
Yeah.
But it does work because people don't want necessarily, especially women, don't want handouts. They want an opportunity to be able to show that they can do it and that they can make their own money. They just need that leg up sometimes right at the beginning. It's one of the reasons that I give scholarships in all of my courses, because I think sometimes you just need
someone needs to just believe in you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then they fly. And it's a really big thing. You're so right. And the government do need to change how they're doing things, because if they did that, then there would be even more women creating wealth. And the more wealth that we create, this was one of the things that made me laugh over lockdown, when people were having a go at me for making money during lockdown.
I had that.
Weren't making money.
My biggest 6 months. It's like,
I'm making money over lockdown when other people aren't, but that's going into the economy because I'm employing people.
Yeah.
So, it's a good thing that I'm making money because it's helping everybody else who isn't making money.
Yeah, exactly.
But people,
the fact you pay for jobs and stuff like that just goes against. People don't notice that bit in women. It's like, hello, we run businesses, we pay staff, we have like teams that we work with, and it just whereas a man, you wouldn't question it.
You wouldn't question it, would you? Yeah, it's a really interesting conversation, and I'm not even sure that it's the men that are.
No, it's not their fault.
No, because I think when I have a look at the people who online, not in newspapers, that's always men, but online, who are having a go at me for talking about money, it's always women. Yeah,
it is, unfortunately. Yeah. And part of it comes back to envy. I think part of it, there was definitely, unfortunately, it's like I was saying to someone the other day, when you celebrate success, it's like a man will take you for a beer and a woman will sometimes talk about you. Like, it's sad. It's different. It's like there's no, if you've got a problem and you want to deal with it, men will just have a beer and they'll deal with it. It's like, whereas women, it's like they might talk about you to someone else. There's all that stuff, and it's sad, and that's why I struggle sometimes. And the other disparity. So this is another controversial disparity I see going on: is only women can help women.
Yeah,
and that drives me crazy. I'm like, I was told I wouldn't succeed online unless I only worked with women.
Really?
That's what I got told. If I don't build a community of just women, I'm never going to succeed. And it's whereas for me, I want to help women work with men because for me, the women are missing a huge opportunity, especially as we become more leaders, is that there's going to be a lot of men that are going to want to work with us. And unless you can understand and feel confident enough to work with men, you're in trouble as well. Like it's a half a society, guys. And so I get tired of like these solid women, and I get women like to surround themselves, they communicate better, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But for me, there's this big thing missing as well. Like, so the financial planner I'm working with, originally we were talking about just working with women because we're like, there's this huge opportunity for her to literally embrace all these wealthy women coming through. She would make them in. But she's like, Kylie, I don't want to do that. I want to bring women's energy into finance. So I don't want to exclude men. I want them to mix and intermingle and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, you're so right, because there's such this now total disparity also happening that only women can work with women. And it's like, that's the other side of me that gets a bit of a bugbear. I'm like,
it doesn't need to be that way.
I know it doesn't have to be, but the most successful. And again, I sit there going, I could make my life so much easier if I just built a bloody community of just women, and you do.
Sometimes you need to make decisions. We're about to make a big one that is for the values that you align with rather than the money that you make. One of the decisions that we've always had is in GSD Society, which is my membership, it's always been women only. And every time because I work with men in everything else that I do, apart from that one thing. And every time we ask the membership, is it okay if we open this to men? 90% we get a no, like we'll open it to men. But eventually there comes a point where you have to make a decision that is based on your belief system over what your clients actually want, to be able to change things, to be able to change things in the world. And so that decision is coming for us in the new year.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And again, and that's why I'm like, no, I'd rather grow smaller, play the way that I do, because that's what I do. Half my clients are men and I love it. I like working with them there. Sometimes I find them easier to work with because they just make decisions and they get on with it. It's like classic. But again, and I can still have that passion. And this is the thing I got told, and I got told this by coach, you have to work with women because if you don't, you can't, you won't get your passion across, which is obviously my passion, my deep-seated passion to the side, is that women shouldn't struggle. Women got incredible gifts. They should make more money and they should do something different. But that doesn't mean I have to work with just women. It's like, but that's what I was told. I can't possibly succeed if I don't do that. It's like you're never going to get anywhere. It's like, what? Seriously?
And it's perpetuating a story that we're telling ourselves over and over again. And unless we change it, it doesn't change. Like that's how the ripple effect works. So I'm glad that you're changing the way things are being done, and you're changing the stereotypical way that people are thinking, because that's what it's all about, really. At the end of the day, this has been such a fascinating chat. I love.
I know we could go on for hours, could we?
I don't even feel like we're doing a podcast. I just feel like we're having a chat over Zoom.
We should have had a wine to go with it. We would have been laughing.
We would have. But I think the biggest takeaway here for you guys listening is the more we embrace talking about money, the more we will make of it. If we keep money being a taboo subject that we can't talk about because it's seen as sleazy or showing off, and if we keep judging people that are making money or aren't, either way, we can't judge people on how much money they have, basically, whether they have less of it or more of it. It's exactly the same. Judge people on people. I think it's really good that things are opening up a bit more. I see more people talking about money online, especially women, than ever before. And I want more of that, because if we can show people that it's possible, and if you guys listening can show people that it's possible, then it just causes a massive ripple effect of more people making money and more people having the belief that they can.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, always checking on your own behaviour. If you see yourself going, oh, I'm going to put a comment on that, or I'm reacting to that, check in with yourself. Why are you reacting to it? That's me. So, I'm very much like, I always joke with you. I don't always send you a message back going, oh, you've done it again, bugger off. We have a joke about it. It's like, and it's good because it's always a check-in for me. I'm like, man, she's that bloody one step ahead of me again. It's like, so I see it as a inspiration. But there were times when when I first started, I saw it as competition. It's interesting. And again, you shift in your own learning about yourself. And I think that's where you have to understand yourself. You have to go deep in your own value. And then you have to own your own reactions to things. And I'm always now looking at going, why am I reacting to that? What's the trigger point? Why am I triggered by it?
Because it means something, doesn't it? For you, like Emily Williams once told me that when she used to be envious or jealous of people, it would trigger to her instead of feeling envious or jealous, that means I must want something that they've got.
Yes.
What is it that they've got that I now need to work towards? And it was much more of a driver for her than envy or jealousy. And that really changed things in me, because I used to look at people and be envious and just feel bad for being envious. And
and we all do. Like, and we still sometimes. I mean, you still can't help but sometimes go, oh, man. But normally it's like, for me, it's a kick. It's a kicker for myself, because then it's like, well, bugger that. I can do that if I can see it. So it's funny because I was talking to Emily not long ago about because she doesn't do much social media. I was like, girl, you don't do social media. How do you build your business? And it's like, she said, Kylie, strategic partners, they get in front of other people's audiences. And so she said, stop, because I was obviously banging my head against a wall for not building a community. Like, oh, I don't have a Facebook group. And I'm like, oh my God, Kylie, just embrace it. And it's like, no, I don't need to do that. So I've got 3 strategic partners now I'm working with for next year, and it's like, that's it. That's all I'm going to need to hit one of my goals. And it's like, so again, just that shift in relation to, instead of envying someone, or like you said, being more curious about it. It's more curiosity to go, oh, okay, how are you doing it differently? Why are you doing that? What did you do? That for me should be what they spark when they see success. And that will change people's thinking.
And it does, because once you get used to doing it, it's like a habit, isn't it? You think differently about things, and you start thinking, oh, good. Like I remember when a friend of mine got a book deal, and I'd wanted a book deal, and I was like, I really want a book deal. I was doing nothing about it apart from saying I want a book deal. Always been that person. And then one of my friends got a book deal, and I was like envious for a second, like, how come she gets a book deal? She got a book deal because she went after a book deal. And I
funny that.
And I had to really check in with myself and go, you can't like compare yourself to somebody that's actually doing the things that you're not doing. And it made me change things, and then I got a book deal. Because I changed the way I was thinking, and I think that's the best way to do things. Like,
it's always to ask, how are they doing it? What can I do? Do I want a part of that? If I do, how can I learn? They always say one of the old finance tests, the money test, isn't it? Is you used to do it when you see someone in a car. That's the quickest way to judge where people's money mindset is. If you see someone with a car, how do people react? Do they react with envy? Do they react with, oh, what an idiot? It's like, how do they react to someone in a car? And when they've got a shift in a mindset, when they turn around and say, oh, they've got one, I want one of those. How do I get one? And they stop and ask the person the question. They ask them instead, what do you do? How did you get that? Like, instead, and it's one of the fastest way to judge people where people are at with their money mindset.
That's really interesting, because in the council estate that I grew up, whenever any of my family or friends saw someone come past in a nice car, their immediate reaction was, God, look at that tosser.
You listen to what comes up. Almost, it's like,
it's all mindset stuff, isn't it?
It's all money mindset. It's the quickest way to tell where people are at with their own money mindset, is to watch how they react to. It's funny, cars seem to do it, and whether you're male or female, it's one of those all things, is that they'll react in different ways.
So guys, if you're listening to this and you see a nice car, I want you to check in with yourself about how you're reacting. Does it make you want the car, or does it make you say something mean about the person driving the car? Because it is an interesting thing. I'm pretty sure we're going to carry on this subject at some point in the future, because I could talk about it all day. There's so many nuances to it, including how other people react to women having money. One of the things that happened to me a short while ago is I went in a shop and bought quite a lot of things in that shop, and the owner of the shop, even though I was doing all of the transacting, walked straight over to Sam and asked him how he's making his money. which is
I was going to say, was it a Pretty Woman moment? It's one of my favourite moments when she walks back in the shop and says that you're on commission. Yeah. Mistake. Big mistake.
I've had many of those moments in the last 4 years.
It's always one of my favourite reminders. Yeah, it's like, see people judge, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll definitely come on and talk about that another time.
Thank you. It's been fabulous.
It has been. Thank you for being here. And thanks, guys, for listening to our ramblings over money. If somebody wants to come and check out the things you're doing, I know you've got some great group programs and you've got some more stuff coming next year. Where's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, so obviously my website, kylieanderson.com, or just connect with me on social media, have a conversation. I'm always about having conversations with people. That's what I love. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, I'll send you on a different way. So for me to just reach out, connect with me. I'm on LinkedIn, Kylie Anderson. I'm always on there. And then obviously on Facebook as well. So that's the best way, just to have a chat. Brilliant. If you want to be inspired, change your ideas, have a conversation.
Go have a chat with Kylie. It's always fun.
It is.
Okay, guys, thank you for listening. You will hear from me again next week. And thank you, Kylie, for being here. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson. If you'd like to get hold of my guide to launching, go to lisajohnson.com/launch and let's get you making money online.